I wish I had a horse like this. He's a very nice horse. He's been very good to us. He's won a Group 2, a Group 3, a listed race. It was, well, a lot of people say it was workman night yesterday, and I take that on board, but he's never been a flashy horse. For me, he did it very well. They went extremely quick. The time was very good. And he knuckled down and got the job done, and I thought that was thoroughly commendable, and we're looking forward to the Guineas.
Obviously, he was sent-off favourite for the Green. Did you come into the race with a lot of confidence, or did you feel he may have just needed it?
It's very hard to come into these trials with confidence. You have hopes, but at no stage, we haven't run enough to know really where we are. Well, we have, I suppose, but he's having his first run of the season. Anything can happen. However, he did win first time out last season, so that obviously stands him in good stead. He doesn't require much, He's quite lean in terms of, he doesn't carry much weight generally anyway, but he's a very athletic horse with a lovely mind, and he's just, I'm very happy going to the Guineas with him. At no stage do I feel that we might be punching above our weight. He's a good horse. Win or lose in the Guineas.
And he's a horse who, as you said, he sort of takes his racing very well. He's clearly got quite a good constitution as well.
Yeah, he has. Mentally he's in a very good place. He's very sensible and relaxed, and generally good horses behave like that. He'll improve for the run, obviously, like ours always do. And even the ones we won the Guineas with, Sky Lantern, Night of Thunder, Bills and Brook, they all got beaten in their trials and came back and won the Guineas. So at no stage do I like them getting beaten in the trials, but I mean, it really doesn't matter. And this fella has gone and won it and come home like he wants the mile. And that's the most important thing. Halfway through the year, I thought we might be going back to 6. And I'm much happier that he looks like he wants a mile.
And I know trainers don't like to compare their horses, but as you said, you won the race with Night of Thunder. You were just touched off with Barney Roy a few years later, who had, of course, won the Greenham. Is this horse similar to any of those two?
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. He's shown more at 2 than the others, which is probably a good thing. And Night of Thunder was 33 to 1. Bills and Brook was 66 to 1. He's going to be half the price. So everyone agrees he's got more chance than they had. So, I'm not saying he's going to win or anything, but I mean, it would be lovely to have one the shorter price, I suppose.
And you said, you're going to go to Newmarket. That's been the plan pretty much since year dot with him. He's had one run on the Rolling Mile in the Dukes, as we know. Was it the course? Was it the ground?
I think it was it was heavy ground that day. It wasn't soft ground. It was heavy ground, and the times say that. I wouldn't say the undulations helped, but he'll have to deal with them, and if he doesn't deal with them, we'll have to deal with that and go to a flat track like Ascot for the St James Palace Stakes or the Jean Prat, something like that. But I think he's got the tools to deal with it. He's a very bright horse, and he's not very hard to manoeuvre. And Dobbsy just sits on him, lets him relax and find his spot. I think he'll handle Newmarket, but I take it on board. He didn't last time, but that was down to the heavy ground, I think. And I can't. If I was a very good trainer, I'd be able to ring up and ask them if they could move that Guineas somewhere else to a nice flat track. But that's not going to happen. The Guineas is at Newmarket, and if you want to win it, you've got to turn up and you've got to handle the track. And you're just hopeful that they do.
But you must have been able to breathe quite a huge sigh of relief as well when you saw him do what he did, because often when you get these smart 2-year-olds, you've always just got that inkling in the back of your mind, have they trained on? He clearly has.
Yeah, definitely. And he's matured the way he races. And it is a worry, but quite often, form is temporary, class is permanent, and he has a lot of class.
And do you see him as an out-and-out miler, or
yeah.
So you wouldn't want to stretch him much further than that?
Was that a certain enough answer for you? He's a miler. No excuses. We got beaten the Guineas because he needs further. Very much doubt it. Mile is his trip. Look out, coming through.
Richard, whoever is housed in this stable is usually pretty smart. Canford Cliffs and Barney Roy and a few others as well. So you've
Paco Boy.
Yeah, so you've
Tormore.
Go on then, the list is endless. So what about Etonian? Is he going to emulate any of those equine superstars?
Well, he's in the box, so that's a good start. He goes to the Derby Trial at Sandown on Saturday. He's a galloper. He doesn't have the speed that you actually think he has, and I think he will get a mile and a half, and the mile and a quarter will suit him. He's in great nick. He's been working super, and hopefully he'll run very well. Mrs. Julie Wood is very excited. Anyway, I can tell you that.
I mean, he won his maiden at big price, around 25 to 1. I mean, that wasn't a surprise to you, though, was it?
No, he actually went off bigger than that. And we wanted to back him a month before that. No, 2 months before that. And then he got a little sore shin. So he left him alone. And I think he just got bored of working. Wasn't working as well as he had been. He's trying to bite me. Look, that's... but I was pretty sure he was going to run well. But he went and won 3 lengths and looked like a very good horse. And then he bolted up in the Group 3 at the same track next time. He seems to love Sandown, and he's going back there for another Group 3. Hopefully on the way to the Derby, you never know.
So you wouldn't be looking at the Guinness for this horse at this stage?
No.
What does he show you that you feel he's more of a Derby horse than a Guinness horse?
You know, he's got that very long stride, and he uses that. And that's his, you know, that's his biggest asset, is that when the other horses are stopping, he's lengthening all the time, and he retains that action all the way through the race, and he's actually very economical. But he's definitely going to need that trip now. I think this season more than last season.
You mentioned Julie Wood. It must be nice for her, because she's been a loyal supporter of you for quite some time, hasn't she?
Well, lockdown for her has been worse, probably, for her than anyone, because she's desperate to come down and spend time with these horses, especially him, and she hasn't been able to. So she's been on the phone. We've been sending videos. It's not the same. She's been down here a fair bit lately. We tried to work him on the grass, but he didn't have enough rain, and you know, she's been there for every big bit of work. She is one of those people that lives for it, loves it. And, you know, it's the whole experience. You know, this is the thing about horses like this. They bring something to people's lives, like Julie, that money can't buy. And a shot at the good races, you know, she buys a lot of horses. Not all of them are good. When she gets a good one, she enjoys it and appreciates it, which is lovely. And, you know, he's a very sound horse that tries very hard. And hopefully she'll get rewarded with a lot of fun and some good wins.
But it must be even nicer, though, because he's by Olympic Glory, of course, who she used to run.
Do you know why it's called Etonian?
You tell me.
It's something like 8 out of 10 men that win Olympic medals at the Olympics for rowing come from Eton.
You didn't know that?
You didn't know that, did you? And here's Mojo Star. He's a Cedar Stars colt. He was second last year at Newbury. I thought he'd won, but he was beaten in a photo. He's grown, done extremely well. He's extremely cheeky. We're going to start him off in a novice race, and he could be a very, very good horse, I hope. He's definitely one of the dark horses for the year. You know, he looks like a champ. He's by the right stallion, and he's got no end of ability. We just have to find out when it ends, if it ends. Dingle ran a very good race the other day. Obviously, it's traditionally a very strong handicap, that, and he came there like he's going to win. Sean got off. I said, "Are you a bit disappointed?" He said, "No." He said, "This is a very good horse." And when he says that, you've got to listen. And he obviously needed it. Hit the front, just got tired. But ran a very, very good race. Very pleased with him.
And sticking with the 3-year-olds, Sounds Like Thunder just got the better of stablemate Lexington Dash to Doncaster last time. And I know in your Unibet blog you were still quite sweet on Sounds Like Thunder, so it wasn't a surprise.
He's in great form. You see him this morning, he's moving very well. I didn't want to run him at Newmarket. It turned out an extremely hot race, so I'm glad I didn't. The ground would have been a bit too quick, and the undulations, I just thought we'd leave him for find another spot for him. But he has improved massively from last year.
I was going to say, that was a big step up, wasn't it, from his first run, or his only run as a 2-year-old? Yeah, okay. And Long Lie, you've got him ended up in the Isha Cup?
Yes, Long Lie is going to run towards the weekend. He's in great form. He's a horse that travels very well, has a high cruising speed. The Isha Cup's always a very strong race, but I'm hoping he can win it or run very well.
So from the Colts to the fillies, Richard, here is Snow Lantern, who I don't think you could have asked for anything more, could you, at Newbury at the weekend?
Do you know what? I haven't enjoyed watching a race like that for a long, long time. Jumped like that, barely did much, and she just went and won lovely. You know, most of the time as a trainer, you're watching a race going, but she was an absolute pleasure to watch, and she's an extremely talented filly. And I felt relief more than anything, because I'd probably bored a lot of people with how good I thought she was, and she proved it. She didn't have to prove it. Well, of course she did, but I mean, not to me. But I just wanted to feel a little bit vindicated that she is the filly that she could be, the filly that we really hope she could be.
And as you said, if you get a horse bred as well as she is by Frankel out of course, your 1,000 guineas winner, Sky Lantern, they're almost sort of on a pedestal before they've even run out.
Exactly, yeah, and they do come with a lot of responsibility. But you know, she's got the class, she's got the attitude, she's got the action. Sean said that her stride pattern gives you a feel of, you know, you don't get very often from most racehorses, and she's got the pedigree as well. So she could be anything.
And has she always shown you a lot
Yes,
of ability at home?
from day one. I've never known a horse be so like the mare, ever. You see her galloping yesterday on TV, you see her ears doing that the whole way. That is exactly like the mare. If anything, she's a little bit more elegant than Sky was. She was very thick set and strong, robust, you know, blokey looking. You know, very strong mare. This filly is a lot more elegant, but so similar in every other way.
And I should imagine it would mean a great deal to you and also the owners, Rockcliffe Stud, because of course it's a big breeding operation, and it would prove that she can continue, you know, the classic sort of stretch through the lines.
Never actually won a race for me as a trainer, ever. Now, not many people know that. Well, they obviously do now. So I'm not saying this filly owes me, but it would be lovely to have a filly out of Sky Lantern that did all her winning for my dad, and then she didn't win as a 4-year-old, and then we retired her. For her to come good for me as well would mean I own the family, sort of thing. I don't, I love to, but I sort of feel like I do, because she's beautiful, and I'm so glad they kept the mare. And Rockcliffe Stud, they've done an excellent job with their breeding program. They've been very patient, and they've gone to the very best stallions. That's what you get if you do it right.
In your heart of hearts, in the back of your mind, which sort of way would you like to see her go, and what would be her optimum for the season?
I think she has the speed for a mile, and especially, you know, these first few runs, I think a mile, because she's quite exuberant the way she travels, she might initially struggle to get further than a mile, but I do think she could get a 1.5 miles. I hope. And she'll certainly get a 1.25 miles. But the thing is, we've done it with a lot of horses. If they do win a Group 1 over a mile, why do we go to a 1.25 miles when they've got everything beaten over a mile? You know, I just find it, you know, we did it with Tornado, or with Sky Lantern once in the Nassau, and you know, they're doing nothing wrong over a mile, and if it ain't broke, why fix it? Here. Pretty, isn't she? Yeah. Use a kiss. Sweetie.
Shine for you, a less than novice winner. She was placed in the
Ouzo
Ouzo
for her
Sharp.
to come right. She's going to probably need giving the ground, and she's not there in her coat, so she'll be another 6 weeks yet.
And what did you make of Happy Romance's run at the weekend?
Do you know what? I was amazed. After saying she would stay, she didn't. I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong, because it happens quite a bit. She didn't stay, and I'm amazed. I thought she'd definitely stay. You know, she lost about 6 positions in the last 100 yards, so she was on her knees. So we'll just go back to 6 furlongs. You know, there's a nice race at Nottingham, and if she's good enough, go to Ascot.
And Aristia, I know is a filly you think a lot of.
She looked to me the other day like she's an extremely talented filly. Could be anything. She barely ran straight for a yard. She's been a right cow, no two ways about it. Took us 3 months to break her in. Jamie McGee did that, and she was a real handful. And we've had to take our time. And luckily, her owner, Bonnie Roberts, has been very patient as well, and it's paid off. But she looked to me like she was a little bit special. Very green. All we have to do is channel that in the right way. We don't want to frighten her or anything like that, because she could go either way at the moment. We're sort of at that pivotal point. So, you know, we have to treat her with kid gloves, really.
So what have you got in the forefront of your mind for her?
Well, the listed race at Newbury, I think it's an Oaks trial, is going to be her next race.
Right, Richard, Mum's Tipple, a horse who attracts a lot of people's attention because of what he did as a 2-year-old. Not quite so good as a 3-year-old, but he's shown much better form this year as he's grown older.
To be fair, I don't think anybody's given him... The horse has never had a chance since that unbelievable win at York. People have expected to see that every time. And, you know, he ran in a middle park, I think, a Dewhurst. I mean, all the good races, a Guineas, all those extremely good races. So he came back this year. He's already won a listed race. He was beaten by a very good horse in the all-weather finals. But he's a very, very good horse on his day. And he now seems to have his mojo back. You know, he's much brighter and happier, and he belongs to two lovely ladies. That's why it's called Mum. He's called Mum's Tipple. It's Martin Hughes' mother-in-law and mother, and they love him and they have a ball. Every time he runs, it's like a family wedding, and he's a joy, and he's a very good horse, and he's going to win a lot of nice races, I hope. Here and abroad, maybe. He's the sort of horse we could travel with, I think.
What did go wrong with him? Why did the wheels come off slightly?
No, I think he went off so quick at York that a lot of the other horses, he just broke their hearts, and he kept going further and further clear. And it was actually done in a quicker time, carrying 5 pounds more than the gym crack was the following day. And, you know, he ran in some very good races after that. He's still running to 110 consistently. So he's not done a lot wrong, you know, and everybody keeps expecting to see this wonder horse, which he still is in his owner's eyes and in my eyes, but he's just not going to go and win by 9 lengths or 13 lengths or whatever he did. I'm happy if he wins ahead. You know, he's a very, very good horse. He's done nothing wrong, and he deserves a bit of respect and a bit of gratitude. Well done.
What's the plan? What's the next target for him?
Well, I think we're looking at something like, there's a race at Ascot, there's the Surrey Stakes at Epsom. You know, he'll go around there no problem. There's plenty of races. There's the John O'Gaunt at Haydock. He might take on all 3. I doubt it, but he might. He's tough. Behind me here is Nugget. He won the Spring Cup at the weekend. Won it very well. I have a feeling his days in handicaps probably will come to an end quite soon. He's going to go up for that. But obviously the Royal Hunt Cup is a possibility. He needs to be about 100 to get in that race nowadays. But I said to Ryan, do you think he could be a black type horse? He said, yes, I do. He said, but there's more money in those handicaps, and he's right when it comes to money normally.
Motakhayyel, gelded over the winter. What do you think of his return to action at Thirsk last week?
Well, I thought he ran a good race. We may have set it up for the horse that sat last, Torres Strike, but you know, he won very well. I'm not sure it's the right track for him. We need to find a level track. We might even go back to the race he won last year at Royal Ascot. I'd say that's probably got to be our target.
He's up to 111 now. Is that workable still, or?
It is, because that's an open handicap. So, yeah, it is. You know, he'll have a very good chance in listed races as well.
And Mambo Nights, a horse that showed some pretty smart form for you last year as well. Winning 3 from 8. As I said, some decent form. What's the plan with him? Well,
he won't be racing now till after Royal Ascot. You know, we gave him a nice break. He's coming back steady. He's lovely colt, hard of a lion, tries very hard, and that's all you can ask. But he'll be going probably 1.6 miles, I would say, this year.
Ouzo. Now, we like him. He's always shown a decent level of form. And what did you think of his run in the Unibet Lincoln?
I thought he ran well. That Unibet Lincoln, Sean got off and said it rode like a very, very good race. And I think the form was confirmed yesterday with Owen Burrows' horse. I was pleased in there. He would have needed that. There's only one way to get these horses match fit, and that's playing matches. And he needed that. His track hill wash wasn't quite right this week, so I left him out of the Spring Cup. And I would say he's going to go to the Royal Hunt Cup, and he'll have a very, very good chance.
And further down the line, would something like the Unibet Golden Mile be on the agenda for him? Of course, the race that you won with Beat Le Bon.
I love the Unibet Golden Mile. As you know, we won it with Beat Le Bon, who by coincidence is behind us here. It's always a very nice race, that Unibet Golden Mile. Worth a lot of money. It's a very fair race. If you get a bit of luck with the draw, they're halfway there. And you know, he's one of a few that could run very, very well in that, along with Nugget.
And I suppose another horse that fits into that mile handicap category is Kayser, and you can sort of set your watch by him, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. If there was a bit of rain around that time of year, look out for him. Whenever there's rain, he gets in the, you know, we enter him, and he almost always runs very well.
And rated slightly lower than the likes of Kayser and Ouzo is Tahitian Prince, who was gelded another one over the winter, but there could be a bit of improvement from him, would you say?
He owes me, and James Stafford that owns him, or manages the syndicate that owns him, he owes us both, because we have both stuck our necks on the lines, you know, telling the owners that we think he's a very good horse. We gave up on that, and we came back to a very nice horse. The nicer we were about him, it seemed the worse he ran. He's been cut now, came out this year and he won, and we were vindicated. He is a very nice horse, and I can only think that the way for him is up. How far up, I don't know, but he would have got a lot of confidence from that the other day. He would have needed it. The second's gone on and won a couple of races. And holidays are over for that horse, thank God, and he's starting to repay the owners, which is lovely, because they've been obviously very loyal and stuck by him.
And you touched briefly on Beat Le Bon there. He's just trotting behind you there. I mean, have you got plans to perhaps go abroad with him again? I mean, he ran a great race in Australia a couple of years ago.
He misses the gates, then he hits the gates like his arse is on fire. You know, it's one or the other. And then he goes off too quick. He's just, where he's got this from, I don't know. He hasn't really had a hard time of things. He looked like the other day 7 is the right trip. He's a speed to come back, granted, but on his day, if everything goes right, he's a very, very hard horse to beat.
And another very tough horse, Magical Wish.
Yes, you know, he, like most handicappers, he'll have that period, a barren period, and then he'll start winning a few times, and then they go back again. You know, and he's come down a little bit, but he's fit enough. He's going to have entries very soon, and hopefully he'll run very well.
And he, of course, carries the same colours of Lexington Dash, those at Midland Park Racing.
Yes, there's a big handicap in him, but I think we need to go further. 2 of those are very talented horses and very, you know, they seem to run very well, and the bigger the handicap, the bigger the pot is, the better they run, which is handy.
Let's talk a bit about our Madhar, horse for Shadwell. Being Gowed, another one who's been Gowded, rated 91. He started off his career looking very smart and ran some okay races last year.
To me, on Saturday at Thirsk, he looked like he wanted to get out of it. I think we can go back to 1.25 miles and make the running and make his mind up for him.
And War Glory, you know, wouldn't be the same coming here without seeing him, would it?
Yeah, he just got his HGV licence to try to the races. He's had a nice break since his last run, and he's coming back steady now. And he always wins a big one. He's a star. Pleasure to have around.
And it's very rare that we see many horses trained here who sort of want a 1.5 miles and perhaps even further. But Noonday Gun, would he be one of your few horses that would perhaps want a bit of a trip?
He's a half brother to Snow Lantern. Yeah. He's had a Sky Lantern. He's not the fastest horse, and he's massive, but he needs a trip. And when he gets a trip, he runs very well.
And then the two-year-old Gubas, a son of Nenas, who's done really, really well.
He's only done 2 bits of work, you know. And those 2-year-olds, when they know their job, they just do. We haven't drummed it into or anything. He looked very capable to me. I'm very pleased with him, you know, because if ours win first time out, they're pretty good. And the other horse, Dukebox, is very, very... He's come back from that race, and he's fatter than when he went there. He looks like he hasn't had a race. I love it when they do that. And when they come back on the line like he did. That's like having 3 winners. When you think you're getting one taken away, and then he sticks his head out and just puts it on the line, that's like having 3 winners. I loved it. I thought it was a really good performance, and he's a very, very likeable horse.
So with those sort of colts, would you train them sort of with Royal Ascot very much in the back of your mind and target the races like the Coventry?
Yeah, but I mean, that's a long way away yet. They're both going to need another run before then. You know, Ascot is a funny fish. If you go looking for Ascot horses, you probably haven't got them. They tend to just arrive, and the best ones do it. You might not even know that they're there. You're working them with something just because you think that horse might be pretty good, and then they go and work well. You're like, oh, you know, it's weird. They will raise their heads closer to the time.
And I suppose we should give a mention for Zoltan Star. What did you think of his first run at Windsor? How disappointed were you?
Well, I wasn't disappointed at all. He ran very well.
Frustrated, perhaps?
Yeah, nobody wants to finish second. Well, nobody wants to get beat, but he did. But I don't think he could have done much more in defeat, and he'll win next time, won't he? I think. He's in the Super Sprint too. He'll have a great chance in that. For his very enthusiastic owners, it's their first horse, and it normally happens like that, doesn't it?
Mm. And Richard, we know that the Hannon stable has sort of always been associated with big 2-year-old winners. It's the very early stages of the season, so we haven't seen any of them at all, really. Are there a few of them that are catching your eye that you think, you know, these could be the ones to take high rank?
Yes, there are. But, you know, a lot of them aren't named yet. We got a nice horse in the breeze ups the other day. He could be a very, very nice. Well, 3, actually. And they could be 3 very nice horses. But there's plenty of 2-year-olds here, and throughout the season, you come and see me any time, I'll let you know where we are with them.